Pusha T should be on the greatest 50 rappers of all time list?
How? What has he done? What has he done that puts him in the greatest rappers of all time besides talk about that he probably didn't get?
To respect people who turned the lights on for you.
Mase showed me how to rap, and Cam always made sure I was on every single album he had. There would be no Jim Jones if it wasn't for them guys.
1 hour later.
And it's good to hear you give Mase his flowers.
I ain't giving no flowers. I love to hate, because I'm a hater myself.
This right here is exactly why Jim Jones crashed out again. And this time, it's ugly. Pusha T looked straight into that camera like he was staring into Jim's soul. He didn't blink once, just dropped the bomb. Jim's been running from the spirit of repossession ever since the bank snatched his house. That line alone had the internet gasping. But oh no, it didn't stop there. Mase literally pulled up with a bucket of popcorn, ready to watch the chaos unfold. And the craziest part, after getting roasted like that in public, Jim still couldn't just take the L and move on. Instead, he doubled down. He came back swinging with a freestyle, throwing sneaky shade on Instagram at both Pusha and Mase, trying to look unbothered. But everyone saw the desperation. Thing is, Mason and Cameron,
you begged us. You are a fan. A fan.
Pause, though. Get off my...
They don't play nice. They came back laughing, tearing him apart with surgical precision. Let's be real. Pusha completely annihilated Jim with that tiny desk performance. It wasn't just a performance, it was a public execution. Pusha and Malice walked in like they had a personal vendetta, part of their rollout for the comeback album, Let God Sort 'Em Out. And man, they did not hold back. Their new collab with Kendrick Lamar, Chains and Whips, was pure venom. Every bar was a jab straight at Jim, raw, unapologetic, and cold. Anyone who watched that tiny desk and the genius lyric breakdown knows exactly what went down. Pusha didn't smirk, didn't blink. He delivered those lines like he was preaching from the book of Payback.
I will close your heaven for the hell of it. It seems to be valor amongst veterans. I'm watching your fame escape relevance. We all in a room, but here's the elephant. There's no tombstones in the desert. I know by now you get the message. Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just get rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chain.
Then came that little pause, that devilish grin creeping up on Pusha's face, like he knew he just lit Jim up in front of millions. The way he sunned Jim on that track was surgical. But truth be told, Jim did this to himself. He's the one who started barking up the wrong tree just to defend Drake like some kind of overzealous bodyguard. And now, the fire he lit is burning him alive. This whole mess exploded when Jim Jones decided to start throwing random shots at Pusha T, all because of his little alliance with Drake. Like, come on, this beef wasn't even his fight, but Jim jumped in head first anyway. And let's talk about that brutal bar from Chains and Whips. We all in the room, but here's the elephant. You chasing a feature out of your element? That was cold. Pusha wasn't just rapping, he was violating. That line was a direct hit at Jim, who's been out here practically begging for a Drake feature like his whole career depends on it. And then came the kill shot.
The 5 Pusha T records right now, his records.
Yes.
Name
I love Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan. He's like, I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records.
See, but
no, can you? No, can you rap to 5 Pusha?
I can't rap 5. No,
all right, can you rap to 5? Wait. Can you rap? If 5 Pusha T records, not the records he's featured on, if 5 Pusha T records came on right now, could you rap them?
You could rap 5 Pusha T records?
Yeah.
No, could you rap 5 Pusha T records right now if they started playing?
What do you mean rap though? Like the hook?
Could you sing them? You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that. But
top 50.
You haven't done that much for me in my life. Like I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought like you dig. Like where I'm from, I want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things like that.
It's like Pusha? He was influenced by Pusha?
Yeah? Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. Nigga, you was nowhere near the top 50. You top 950.
You was nowhere near top 50. You top 950. That one left bruises. Pusha basically told him he's not even in the conversation. It's wild, because Jim's been calling Drake the GOAT for years, riding for him like a soldier protecting the throne. At one point, his whole identity became Drake's hype man, and people were clowning him for it. It all got messy when Billboard dropped their top 50 greatest rappers of all time list. with Pusha sitting comfortably at number 29. Jim lost it. He pulled up on the Breakfast Club spitting pure disrespect, saying Pusha didn't even belong in the top 50. And he didn't stop there. On the Rap Caviar podcast, he doubled down, claiming Pusha hadn't done anything major for the culture, but that Chains and Whips line proved otherwise. It clearly hit Jim right where it hurt. Now here's where the story takes a wild twist. Jim fired back with a freestyle, but plot twist, it wasn't new. Turns out he recorded that track 2 years ago. Yeah, before Chains and Whips even dropped. So how did he even get that beat early? Word on the street is, a snippet of the song leaked when Clips performed it during a Louis Vuitton runway show. Jim must have caught wind of it, snatched the beat, and rushed to drop his version the very next day. That's how pressed he was, before the beef even went public. But Jim wasn't done embarrassing himself. After the Tiny Desk performance went viral and everyone crowned Pusha the winner, Jim tried to spin the block again. He hopped on Instagram, reposting that old freestyle with the caption, "I thought we addressed this already. He gonna need a bigger desk, cause that one was too tiny." Then he added, "This is surgical. I'm not a storyteller. I'm a life liver. And your brother is still a friend to me, LOL. Like, really, Jim?" The internet was not impressed. Even his own fans started dragging him in the comments. One person said, "You got triggered and smoked so bad, you re-uploaded a diss from last year." Another fan clowned, "He ain't say your name, and you bragging about the enamel on your necklace." The whole comment section turned into a roast session. And Jim? He was looking like the only one who didn't get the joke. Then someone else hit Jim with a brutal comment. Jealousy turns into obsession. "Give it up, man, you reaching." That one stung. And it wasn't just random fans piling on either. Mase and Cameron jumped into the mix, and you already know when those two get involved, things get spicy fast. If you know their long history with Jim, then yeah, this is personal. And they're loving every second of it. Mase couldn't even hide his laughter. He's been waiting for this kind of payback. Because let's be real, this drama goes way back, all the way to their Harlem days. Jim, Mase, and Cam were once like brothers. They came up together in the same blocks, the same struggle, the same early hustle of New York's golden era. They used to move like a squad, straight up children of the corn. But as soon as fame came knocking, everything changed. Back in the mid-1990s, Mase was the first one to blow. He got that golden ticket with Bad Boy Records under Diddy, and overnight he became a superstar. But according to Jim, that's exactly when things started getting weird. He swears that once Mase hit big, he switched up, started acting brand new, especially toward Cameron, the same guy who'd been right there with him from the start. Jim's been saying for years that fame went straight to Mase's head. He even aired it out again earlier this year on Justin LeBoy's Respectfully show, dropping pure shade. Jim said he personally watched Mase badmouth Cameron once he got a little success. And from that moment, Jim said, "I lost all respect for him." Just like that. One minute, they were all brothers, the next enemies. While Mase was out there shining under Diddy's lights, Cameron was still grinding hard in the streets, building his own empire from the ground up. But when Cam finally got his break, he didn't forget his people. He brought Jim with him. That loyalty is what gave birth to Dipset, one of the most legendary movements Harlem ever produced. Cam and Jim built that legacy together, side by side, while Mase was busy living the glamorous life far away from the block that raised him. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Mase ditched rap altogether. After all that chaos with Diddy, the man disappeared, saying he found God and became a pastor. He traded luxury cars for pulpits, at least for a while. But then, out of nowhere, boom! He popped back up, diving right back into rap like nothing ever happened. And Jim, he wasn't buying it one bit. To him, it looked fake. 1 minute preaching, the next spitting bars again. In Jim's eyes, that made Mase look shaky, inconsistent, and lost in his own image. Jim always had that habit, only showing up when the cameras were rolling. To him, Mase was nothing but flaky, inconsistent, and always chasing clout whenever it suited him. But here's where it gets juicy. Yeah, Mase and Cameron had their own beef back in the day, no denying that. Things between them got ugly for years, but in 2022, they shocked everybody by patching things up and launching their joint sports podcast, It Is What It Is. That reunion? Oh, it hit Jim deep. Word on the street says he was heated about it. Seeing Mase and Cam back together laughing, doing business, and getting love again, that ate Jim alive. Instead of celebrating, he got bitter and started throwing low blows from the sidelines. He even tried to clown Mase's appearance recently, saying he needed to go on a diet. That's when everyone knew Jim was pressed. But come on, Mase and Cam, they don't take shots lying down. They flipped the whole situation on its head and turned the petty all the way up. Their next move was straight savage. They invited none other than Jim's longtime enemy 50 Cent onto their podcast. You can already imagine the chaos that followed. During the episode, Cam couldn't resist. He looked at Mase with that smirk and asked, so why did Jim randomly pop up at a 50 Cent concert back in 2007 while Dipset and G-Unit were beefing? Boom, that was the setup, and 50 delivered the dunk. The whole studio erupted in laughter. They basically turned Jim into a punchline in front of millions of viewers, and of course, Jim wasn't gonna stay quiet after that humiliation. He jumped on Justin LeBoy's show and went off. Full rant mode. He blasted Cam and 50 for even speaking his name, saying they owed him more than a few favors. He tried to check both of them live on air, but it only made him look more desperate. Then Jim took it up another notch. He started rewriting history. He claimed he was the real mastermind behind Dipset's entire image. According to him, he's the one who inspired Cam's whole aesthetic, even that iconic pink fur coat. Jim said straight up, that legendary look, my idea. But Cam wasn't having that revisionist history for a second. He clapped back hard on the next podcast episode, tearing Jim's story to pieces. He called him out for fabricating his whole Dipset origin tale, and even accused him of lying about being from Harlem. Cam made it loud, clear, and cold. Jimmy wasn't built like that. And just like that, a decades-old bond turned into a battlefield again. Cam didn't hold back. He aired Jim out like laundry. According to him, Jim was never a day one soldier. They weren't in the trenches together, not even close. Cam made it clear. By the time Jim came around, the foundation was already built. Children of the Corn had a name ringing through Harlem streets. And Jim, he was just a spectator, a fan watching from the sidelines. That stung deep. And when Jim tried to flex, claiming he'd seen Mase son Cameron back in the bad boy days, Cam laughed that off in real time. He said straight up, Jim wasn't even there back then. The truth, according to Cam, Jim was never part of that original circle. He came in after the grind, once the shine had already started. But Cam wasn't done slicing. He dropped a bombshell, revealing that it was actually Mase who taught Jim how to rap in the first place. Yeah, you heard that right. Then just to twist the knife a little deeper, Cam pulled out receipts. Real clips of Jim himself admitting that Mase gave him his first bars. You could almost hear the internet gasp. And honestly, the highlight of that entire episode wasn't even the drama, it was the comedy. Every time the cameras cut to Mase, he was sitting there with this massive bucket of popcorn, cracking up like he was watching a stand-up show. He didn't have to say a word, just his laughter alone said everything. That calm, smug energy drove Jim crazy. So crazy that he snapped online saying, I'll slap that popcorn out of Mase's hand. Like, bro, he really let some popcorn mess with his whole pride. But Jim didn't stop there. He kept spinning the block, going live again just hours later, still ranting and trying to flip the narrative. This time, he called Mase and Cam washed-up legends who live off old stories, saying, they sitting around talking about the past like it's 2003, bro. That era gone. But the irony, while he was calling them stuck in the past, he was the one recycling freestyles from 2 years ago and beefing over a rapper list. Fans weren't fooled. One even commented, you calling them washed while spitting the same bars from 2022. The internet's cold, and Jim was getting roasted nonstop. Meanwhile, Cam and Mase turned the heat up another notch. On the next It Is What It Is episode, Cam showed up draped in a pink fur coat and a cape, straight up mocking Jim's claim that he invented the Dipset look. The visual alone was savage. Mase just kept sipping from a mug that read, #1 Life Liver, shaking his head like a disappointed teacher. And that one detail sent the internet into chaos. Memes exploded overnight. Then came the final spark. 50 Cent decided to join the circus. He dropped a shady Instagram post of himself laughing with the caption, y'all better call the fire department, Jimmy's melting down again. And you already know what that did. The comments flooded instantly. Memes, GIFs, clown emojis, pure internet chaos. Everyone was laughing except Jim. Now Jim's backed into a corner. The whole industry's watching to see what his next move will be. Will he finally come back with something new or just keep recycling old shots like a broken record? Because right now, he's swinging at ghosts while the whole world's cracking up. But here's the twist. Jim ain't done. Nope, he's gearing up for war. And guess who's riding shotgun? Drake, that's right. Jim's teaming up with the Sixth God himself for his upcoming project, Iceman. And word on the street is he's loading the clip for everybody. Pusha, Mase, Cam, nobody's safe. Insiders are whispering that Jim's been locked in the studio, penning bars aimed at every single person who threw shade his way. This ain't just an album, it's a hit list. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.